Pat, Rue, and Eric here. Day 2 at E3 is over, and today we decided would be Retro Day. Yay! Woo. So the biggest retro game of the day that we looked at was Double Dragon Neon, which is an update of the classic game, which incorporates elements of really all the old Double Dragon games.
And the 80s in general, it seems. Just all sorts of nice little retro tweaks, including things like high fives.
You can high five and you can share power with each other. You can chest bump. And yeah, and it looks that bad in the game too. When you chest bump, what happens is it's basically like it's like a giant super attack that hits everyone on the screen. There's a throw button they added to the game. There were baseball bats.
All sorts of weapons.
Linda's whip was in the game. You had barrels. All the classic moves you'd expect. There's kick button, attack button, jump kicks, pin down attacks. A Bobo was in there. There was
It looked mean.
It looked very mean.
Yeah.
There was a reference to Double Dragon 2 with the helicopter, how you can fly out. You're in space now, and you can be sucked into space if you're not careful.
Yep.
So it looks like a very exciting game. Majesco's publishing this late summer, so yeah, be on the lookout for it.
It's a lot of fun. I think we all had fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I want to play it again.
Did you enjoy it?
I would say that I want to play it.
Okay. We hit up the Konami booth for a lot of cool retro stuff. Eric, you played a new Castlevania game.
I did. I played Castlevania Lords of Shadow Mirror of Fate. And it was awesome. I mean, for those that are used to the handheld games, the handheld Castlevania games, it's kind of more the same. It's more, Symphony of the Night style, like Metroidvania. You got the whole Metroid map and everything like that. And like some kind of God of War moves and stuff. But it is 2D from the side, but it's in 3D. So I liked it. I thought it was really fun. I didn't get to play it for very long, but I liked what I played.
I checked out the Zone of the Enders HD collection, which are HD remakes of the PS2 games. Now, I wasn't overly familiar with the franchise, but it's you're a robot, you're flying around, you have melee attacks.
I think it's a mech suit.
Mech suit.
Is the technical term.
Yeah, so you're a mech suit flying around. You have melee attacks. You're shooting. You're dodging like 50 guys at once. Very exciting looking. Someone told me all about it. Pearl from Konami. She's back and she told me all about it. And we're gonna have a whole interview on that coming soon.
And to transition neatly to that, you know what First Zone of the Enders had as a bonus disc?
What was that?
A demo of Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yeah?
And there was the Metal Gear Solid HD collection also for the Vita that they were showing off. Seems to be something that's happening a lot. In all sorts of, 3DS and the Vita.
Silent Hill HD collection was there too?
Exactly, yeah. Lots of just collecting these old games and putting them out so you can play them on the go.
Also, at the Konami booth, a shock to us, Frogger Pinball, they had the whole table set up, but it turns out it's just an iOS app, and they had basically a giant screen underneath.
Yeah, it's like a giant table. It looked like a virtual pinball table
Yes.
in the cabinet. But yeah, it's something you can play on your iOS or I think also Android devices.
Yes.
It was like $2.
There was a free version too, where you get less
go.
tables. The only problem is, at least on this one with the buttons, there was like a half-second almost delay between hitting the button and having your flipper go. And if you're playing pinball, that thing has to be pretty instantaneous.
Yeah.
And speaking of pinball, wandering around today, a new pinball manufacturer appears, Jersey Jack Pinball. Now, this is exciting. For the past 10 years, there's been only one pinball manufacturer in the world, and that's Stern Pinball. In the late 90s, pinball machines, there was about 6 or 7 major pinball makers in the 90s. They died out by the mid-90s, early 2000s. Stern had a full monopoly. Now Jersey Jack, starting a pinball company, and he's licensing The Wizard of Oz, and it looks incredible. I played it, I tried it out. The guy who designed the table, I wish I remember his name, is also a guy who did Simpsons Pinball Party. He also worked on the Stern Lord of the Rings table, which is a nice table. So he's all on board there. The play field is just about completed. Instead of the DMD dot matrix display, full like 24-inch LCD display on there.
Technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was impressed. And so that part wasn't programmed yet. They already have tons of pre-orders, and that's going to come out later this year as well.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited for that.
There were actually a lot of, we were talking to other companies throughout the whole venue, and whenever we mentioned the pinball thing, they say, oh yeah, I saw that. They saw the Jersey Jack pinball game, and they were like, oh my god, that's great.
Eric's excited.
I'm excited. Everyone loves pinball. I love pinball. I want to play it.
So one of the major themes I've been seeing with the retro games this year at E3 is we're taking the old properties, the way they were back then, and redoing them just with updated graphics. We saw at the WB booth, we saw Worms, and we also saw Spy Hunter.
Love Worms. Spy Hunter's good too.
Spy Hunter, now you had the PlayStation 2 era games, which were nothing like the original arcade game. There were, you had just tons of action, and this was a return to the old. And you're on the road, and you have a mission, kind of like Chase HQ, and you have to avoid all the pedestrians. And I thought that was a cool sort of way to get back to that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, it's the way a lot of games are going nowadays, or a lot of franchises, like even all the way up to Super Mario, New Super Mario Brothers. They take the old classic style, 2D, and they just perfect it a little bit more each time. I like it. It works.
Yeah. It's like what we saw with Double Dragon, like they got the old tracks but reworked and that kind of thing. And I didn't get to hear what Spy Hunter was bumping, but I hope it's a dun 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 dun. I love that track.
So walking around, we were a little surprised, but not totally, to see some booths pushing their retro products. In particular, one company, Retrobit, was selling exact replicas of Dreamcast controllers, Super Nintendo controllers, NES zappers, the NES dog bone controller.
Yeah.
They had USB adapters for the computer. This is pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
I also agree, yeah.
I mean, I guess it goes to show you that now that these patents have run out on these products, these companies are pushing these out, especially with something like N64 controllers, where the joysticks on those were really fragile back in the day.
That's exactly what I was about to say, and they wouldn't center after a while, and geez.
So there's a big market for N64 controllers, for new ones that probably would work better than the old ones. Yeah. One of the most surprising retro devices we saw was for the Super Nintendo. It was a Genesis game adapter. I was like shocked by that, how far we've come, where back in the day these two competitors were head to head, and now you can play both games on one system somehow.
It's a little gross. It's like kissing your sister.
It's a crime against humanity.
No, it's like kissing your sister.
My sister?
What?
And finally, we checked out the Video Game History Museum. They were back again, arcade games, rare consoles, prototypes, systems, demo kiosks.
And play.
Yeah, you can play everything. It was packed, and we're going to do an entire new video, just like last year, with all their stuff they had new this year. That's going to be coming soon, so look out for that.
On RetrowareTV.com.
Yeah.
Only.
On there. So we're going to sign off. This is day 2 Retroware TV, and we'll see you tomorrow.
What are we doing tomorrow?
Tomorrow we're doing third-party games on the third E3 day.
Wow, that's a great idea.
What a concept.
Kaboom.
Kaboom.